How are you, Kurt?
What's going on, buddy?
Not too much. Just
Can you
trying to
hear
get a meal down right now,
me?
as always.
I know. I literally just ate right before I got on.
Yeah. How many calories a day are you eating right now?
We brought it down a hair. I'm doing like a mini cut kind of for the next month. I'm just gonna so Paul's gonna take I'm going to the Arnold with Paul, and
Yeah.
Paul's my coach. We'll take a look at me in person at the Arnold at the end of this month.
Mhm.
I'm most likely gonna come in as a light heavy. So I'm 215. Um, my body fat's pretty low. It's in the single digits already.
Mhm.
I need to be 197. So me growing much more is going to be pretty stupid because I'm not going to be big enough to be at the top of heavy. I'm
Oh,
five
no.
seven, so
Okay. I was gonna ask.
I came from classic, but I can't make the 187 cut off anymore. It's just not going to
Mhm.
happen without losing muscle. And I'm almost 50. There's no reason for me to lose muscle just to make a fucking category.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I don't have any aspiration to take a bodybuilding that far. I'm just doing it because I enjoy it at this point.
Yep.
Um, so my calories are probably like my high days. I have to figure out what the calories are. Uh, Probably 5 to 6 on the high,
And
probably
you're. Oh wow.
35 or that's a cut for me. I was on 6 on the low and 8 on the high before. It's disgusting.
Damn.
But I was 230. I lose weight really fast. I went
Oh
from
yeah. Yeah.
two, I cut the growth down. I was on 18. I used a Serostim a day to 6. And I lost like probably 10 pounds. That was fluid that just came out with it.
Wow.
Um, which is nice. I can actually feel my fingers again.
Yeah. I mean, I've known a couple guys. Well, not even a couple. I've known one guy who told me that he took 18 or 16 or 18, whatever a full vial is.
Yeah, it's 18 of Serostim. Yeah.
18 Saracen, yeah. And he did that for a nationals prep. But this guy was 5'11, so my height, and he was competing at 270.
Yeah, it was a lot. I have a prescription for it and I'm around it. So like I use mine as a baseline, my prescription. My prescription's for 3 units because I have one kidney
Mhm.
and because I'm friends with doctors, like I'm not really supposed to have it, but I don't abuse it. So they don't, you know what I mean, care. So it's only in New Jersey, at least it's only allowed for kidney failure
Mm.
or AIDS. So he just wrote, I have chronic kidney disease, which is not really the case. But I use that and then I'm around HIV all the time at school. So
Right.
junkies don't want their shit. So it's easier for me to get.
Yeah, I didn't know you could use GH for kidney health or for kidney
Yeah,
disease.
it actually speeds up the filtration of it, which is pretty cool. In fact, I would be considered kind of a hyper responder to it as well because of the one kidney. So I don't excrete it at the same rate. So it's interesting. My IGF is always really high, like
Yeah.
freakishly high. Like it's usually in between 5 and 700.
What's up, Stu?
Howdy.
What's up, Stu?
I just got back from the gym. So
Stu, do you know
training.
Kurt? Do you know Kurt Havens?
I
I've never
don't.
met him before. I follow you on Instagram.
Yeah,
Good to meet
so
you, Kurt.
yeah,
What's going
Kurt
on, buddy?
Havens is a PhD. He wrote a book on GH, so we got a fact check here. We can't
Ah,
start talking bullshit.
well, I guess we're what would you call them? Anecdotes or case studies
Exactly.
in the literature?
So what's going on, Stu? You started your pep already, right?
No, I haven't. I got a couple more weeks, like 2.5 more weeks, till I start prep. I'm trying it like 13 weeks out. Yeah, 13. So I'm a little leaner than I was last year. I think I started at 14 last year, but uh yeah, I'm gonna get bloods in a couple of weeks here and see where everything's at, and then it's gonna go from there. So you're doing Toronto, right? I just assume,
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm starting my prep now, getting things rolling. I would like to do a couple shows this year. Besides just Toronto, I'd like to do New York, Cali,
Okay.
Toronto, just a bunch all around that time.
All right.
Um,
Well, I guess we'll be
so
rolling together then.
we'll see you down there, man. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a heavy hitting show, so I'm really looking forward to Nick's in there now, so I'm just looking forward to getting in the mix with the boys. So yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, Kurt, if you didn't know, Stu got second place in New York Pro
Yeah,
Live.
I
Yeah,
follow him. I'm a fan.
yeah. So I guess that put you on the map a little bit there, eh?
Yeah.
Um,
You know, I was following you, Stu, when you were an amateur. Well, I guess you were an amateur
Oh,
about
really?
last years ago.
Yeah, 22. That's when I
Yeah,
got my card. So
yeah.
that's awesome, man.
Very cool stuff, man. What do you weigh now?
shoot, I'm like 285. I've been like 285 for like 2 or 3 months now.
You
I
look
kind of
pretty
got
hard though
up
at
there.
285 though now. At least in your
Yeah, you know,
pictures, you look good.
compared to last year, I think like I got up to 295 last year, but it was soft and shitty. Not like super bad, but just way worse than it is now.
What's your height?
5'8", something like
Okay.
that.
Oh wow, you're only an inch taller than me. You're a big dude.
Yeah, so um I think I probably got 30 pounds to lose from here to 25 or 30. So I mean, I was talking to my coach and everything, and like what I need to do this year is just get harder. Like my conditioning was like decent last year, but it wasn't like really good like it needs to be. And you know, for somebody like me who doesn't have like bells and whistles and crazy stuff going on with them, like you need really good condition to like push your way up there into the better placing. So that's about all I can kind of work on in the next couple months.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, man. I mean, fuck, your conditioning was pretty good at New York, but I guess, yeah, if you have to really look at it, you know, from a judge's perspective, if you were more conditioned, then maybe you could have taken the win.
Yeah, Steve told me that I got beat on conditioning,
Mhm.
and it wasn't like a big gap, I don't think, but like Tony was a little harder. He's also, 4 or 5 years older than me, which
He
which
he
helps.
also, carbs up on five guys burgers and somehow just gets drier and looks perfect from that. But yeah, I
Must
mean,
be nice. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, man. So I wanted to ask you how long you've been working with your coach, Blue Taylor, because I don't know that much about him, but yeah, like how did you get started working with him? And
Yeah, so we started December of 2020 because there's a show up in the Northwest called the Emerald Cup, and I'd done it like twice already, and I was going for the third time, and I hit up him to do the prep for 2021. And that was our first prep together. We started like 20 weeks out. Um, he ended up winning the show, but like that's probably as hard as I've diet as I've ever done. Probably overdid it by the end of it, which, lesson learned. But I was in very good condition for the first time in my life. But like just a lot of stress build up, like mentally, but mostly physically as well, towards the end of it. And it kind of my body just looked beat up, so uh, fast forward to the next year in 22, we did things a lot different. I had a really good off season. I started prep at like 275 or 280. I ended up on stage at like 246. So um, it was a lot smoother of prep, and I was eating a lot more throughout the whole thing. Uh, like on average, once I got to like 6 or 7 weeks out, he'd have me doing like refeeds once a week. His big thing is sushi, so he'd send me to go get a bunch of sushi, and then kind of come back down the hill, refeed, repeat, and repeat until I was in shape, basically. Um, and it was kind of similar track
when you're
this
eating
year.
sushi, sorry to cut you off, but when you're eating sushi, are you eating like all you can eat, or is he giving you like a specific amount?
Yeah, he gives you like a limit on how much you're supposed to eat.
Okay.
But when I was down in Arizona prepping for that show, there's all this all you can eat sushi places there, like which is weird in the fucking desert, but like they're actually really good.
Yeah.
And so like I became a regular at this place during prep. Every single Wednesday or Thursday, roughly, I'd be there to get my sushi again. And I kind of did a similar thing this year in prep with the refeeds. But I'm this year I don't expect to be doing, excuse me, I did a similar thing last year for 2023.
Yeah.
This year I don't expect to be doing that quite as much. Like I'm just gonna need to push down harder for longer. Because like the fear previously was that, if I stay too flat for too long, like I did in 2021, the first time we prepped together, then I'm just going to start getting stringy. And once I do that, getting that hole, it's like you can't really pull yourself out, right? So um, we were more cautious as far as like pushing me. And this year, I'm a year older. I've had this muscle on me for longer now. It's not like fresh tissue like it was in previous years. Um, I think I have more leeway to like push harder for longer and, ultimately just get in better shape.
Yeah.
And that's what I got to do this year.
Oh yeah. What's up, Aaron?
What's
Like,
going on?
Not too much, man.
Few minutes late here.
Yeah, it's all good. Do you know Stu? Do you know Kurt?
I know
Aaron?
it's
Those guys?
following along.
Yeah. Now we were just talking about, yeah, it's fucking hard, man. Like in order to get in good condition, really good condition for bodybuilding, you got to kind of push that line a little bit between like being flat, like guys are so scared to be flat. But if you never get flat, then how the fuck are you going to get condition? But at the
Right.
same time, if you're too flat for too long, or if you're starving, or you're just getting really weak, or just feeling like shit, you got to refeed yourself somehow. But I mean, I guess it's like Dorian has this thing where he likes to use Cobb's bread, scones from Cobb's bread. It's like,
Is
or
that a Canadian
Tostino's
thing?
got like his cookies. Like everybody's got their thing, right? But yeah, he had me doing like these scones. He's like, go get these white chocolate raspberry scones. I'm like, fucking right. Um, but too bad I have celiac disease, so that didn't work out well.
Oops. Those
You
scones.
learn your lessons the hard way, right? Probably should have done sushi, man.
But yeah, I mean, talking about getting flat, like I would probably get like, like bottomed out flat for like 2 or 3 days max last year. And then, he'd refeed me. I want to stretch that out to like 3, 4, 5 days
Yeah.
this year because I think I can handle it now. Once you've had this like in 2022, when I did the USA's prep and it was a lot bigger at the beginning, that was a ton of new muscle and like it hadn't been on me for a while. I mean, that muscle's been on me for a couple of years now though. So like
Yeah.
I don't think it's just gonna, fuck off once I start dieting hard like
No.
it would have previously. So um
I find though the taller you are, yes, the more you weigh, the harder it is to fill back out. And it's
yeah.
almost you require more time, like a longer window. And it's hard because there's not many guys, say my height, besides Justin here, that probably have to load up even longer
No,
than me.
Justin.
Because sometimes it takes me like 6, 7 days or plus before I go into a show.
How
So
tall are you?
you
Yeah.
Yeah.
How tall are you?
Like, to be exact, 6'2.5".
And Justin,
and you're like
six-
you're
six
well
three.
over 300 pounds right now, right?
340.
Fucking hell. Oh,
Yeah, these guys are
uh,
monsters up here, man. See, I'm walking around at 5'11", and I'm 295 right now, and I'm seeing these guys. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, you know what I mean? So it's good though. You know what I mean? Because fucking, we're all at a level where we want to be competitive, and when you see guys that are on another level, like I look at you, Stu, I look at you, Aaron, Justin, like you guys, even though we're competitors and we're friendly and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, like you guys are motivating the hell out of me because I know we're going to be up there at some point competing together. So
We're
I need to
all
bring my best, right?
we're all friendly until show day, and then I
Yeah.
bring it to him.
Robin's still pretty friendly on show day. Speaking from experience.
I mean, some people have fun on show day. I try to more now than I did probably before, because I think just having so much pressure on myself on show day, I just get like anxious personally if I'm not like actually having fun. And the first time I started talking to people backstage at a pro show, it was with actually Akeem Williams, and he just came over and started talking to me, and I was like, oh, and then this guy ends up winning the show. So I'm like, maybe talking to people isn't something that's going to harm you, right? And for
Fuck
some
no.
reason, I always thought that I had to be like in my own world, but just like, yeah, we were fucking having a little bit of fun backstage too, and like just whatever, it's like shooting the shit with your boys. I mean, at the end of the day, we all fucking put the work in. So what's that day really matter,
Yeah,
right?
at the end of the day, if we're competing in New York, we're all competing for second, right? So who cares?
Just don't leave any of your Pedialytes in your meal. Sprinkle a little sugar in there and fuck you up or something. Little Fenty in there. But no, it's good. So Aaron, you were saying you're thinking about competing now too, eh?
I'm on the fence, so I'm probably gonna decide in like 8 weeks. Actually, less time, 6 weeks. I'll decide.
Better hurry up and make a decision, man. In 6 weeks.
Well,
Let's do it.
that'll put me at 20 weeks out from like Tampa and Texas.
Did you do
Okay.
Tampa last year, bro? Or was it
No,
Orlando?
no, I did. Last show I did was Chicago.
Oh shoot, okay.
Yeah,
I was right before Tampa then. Yeah.
yeah, right before Tampa. Yeah, like literally a week or two before. I should have done Tampa, but I was that was my third show that year, so
Okay.
needed a break.
Yeah, I mean, fucking shows are coming up pretty fast, man. So
No, it's crazy.
I know, Justin, you're sitting this year out for sure, and that makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense.
yeah,
But
yeah, no, I'm not going to be competing until at least 2025, and then we'll see like what I look like. I think I'll probably make a decision like at the end of the summer. You know, like when I start seeing what I'm starting to look like, then I'll make a decision where I compete. But I think it's gonna look more like probably Toronto or like one of those shows, like maybe like mid type of the year 2025 there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much where I'm gonna be sitting. But again, like I don't know, like it's very new to me. And anyways, I'm not rushed to get on stage.
Yeah.
Because
for
you just
sure.
got your card last year, didn't you?
I got it in July.
Okay. I just put two and two together. You're like the gigantic dude who I remember seeing on a couple of the pages. So
He's pretty
Yeah.
fucking large, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I just turned pro. So for me, I'm a big guy, but I'm missing all that density from, from the back and like certain body parts. So especially upper body, like my legs are pretty good, but my upper body is lacking a little bit. So for me to be competitive,
What happened there?
for me, like I don't want to just do a show to do a show. I want to do an impact as soon as I can. So I think 2025 makes more sense. And anyways, like I said, I'm not rushed to get on stage anytime soon there.
Yeah. Do you think that you're missing any body parts, Justin?
Sorry?
Do you think you're missing any body parts?
Yeah, my back.
Your back's pretty good, man.
Well, it's wide, but it's not like there's missing some thickness there for sure.
Yeah.
That's
Like
hard for tall guys, though.
You can
Yeah,
never be too
really.
wide or too thick, really, in your back. Like, you know.
and you know what? Like there's also like, my arms aren't small, but because I'm so tall, they don't look as big, right? Because my limbs are so fucking long.
Yeah.
So and again, like even like my hamstring on the side, like there's a lot of little holes here and there, and like I'm almost 6'3" there, so it's like you still have those gaps. It's kind of like what we were talking about. I was talking to Aaron in the gym today, yesterday,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like the limbs are so long. Like even him, it was more like let's say his legs, but for me, the upper body's like a lot more stretched out, right? So to fill in all those gaps, it takes a little bit more time. So even though like I'm pushing 340, 345, but it's still like I still need to fill out that frame in terms of like thickness and density.
Yeah, for sure. Stu, what about you? Do you think you're missing anything really, like from your physique? Besides, obviously, we talked about conditioning, but in terms of body parts, is there anything that you'd want to bring up if you could?
Like glaringly bad, not anymore. I think my arms, I've brought those up a lot. My back has improved, and those are the two focuses for me this off season. But I don't know. I'm 27, so like I think there's a certain kind of look and like maturity that I just don't have yet, and that'll come with time and with pushing down harder for these shows and getting in better shape. Um, I mean, I look at myself as a guy who's got to like get lucky to win shows where like some stud freak isn't going to show up and just like, you know, like Tonio. Like Tonio did that last year,
Yeah.
He's legit. And he got 8th at the Olympia. So
Yeah.
When I have to kind of like land at the right show and nail everything in order for me to like win. So and as I continue like the next few off season stuff, I'm not going to be pushing my weight up quite as hard. I'm not going to be pushing my drugs as hard.
Yeah.
Because like I don't need to put on 10 pounds from where I'm at now. Like maybe a couple here and there in the right spots, and I'm just going to kind of like fill in little gaps. But yeah, I don't think there's any terrible weaknesses on me anymore, fortunately.
Yeah.
Luckily.
What about you? Because you're going to be doing light heavyweights. You're going to compete this
As
year.
an amateur. Yeah. I mean, I'm on the
Yeah.
other side of the fence. I'm almost 50. This is
Yeah.
I've never really had the genetics to be very good at this stuff. I kind of dedicate myself to helping other guys. Like I coach. I have 73 guys that I coach. That's, I'm trying to figure out the science of this shit so it helps everybody.
Okay, well, that's a good
I'm
question. I
competing
mean,
for fun.
if you're coaching somebody and they say, I want to bring up my back, for example, how are you going to coach them to do that? What's
What
up,
part
Joe?
of the back? Like
Yeah,
what
we're
part
just
talking
no.
about?
Go ahead.
No, like what part of their back are you talking about?
Let's just say, I want to bring up my lats. I want to bring up my traps.
A lot of times it's a grip stuff, angle stuff.
What did you do, Stu?
Um, bizarrely, I actually stopped deadlifting this off season, which I was reluctant to do because I really like deadlifting, but I just kept on tweaking shit in my lower back when I was doing it more. So I backed off of that. And I kind of have like a thickness focus day and a width focus day. They're not like exclusive of each other. So like I'll do like one like upper back row at the end of my width day, and I'll do some lat movements on my thickness day. But like, yeah, like just getting good at like driving my elbows to the right place, whether I'm recruiting my lat or like squeeze my shoulder blade back or whatever it is. And I mean, most important thing, this is always what I've done, but I've always hit everything twice a week for the most part, particularly weak stuff. I think frequency is a really good tool that, I think old school guys kind of shirk that because, like, look at all the guys who look great doing bro splits. Yeah, okay, they would have looked great doing jumping jacks, but that's besides the point. I think if you can hit everything more times in a week, obviously you're gonna have to reduce how much shit you're doing in each session. You got to figure out that sweet spot as far as volume and frequency, but give yourself more chances to grow. Um, it's not that complicated, right?
Yeah, for sure. You guys all agree with that too?
That's what I started doing.
We kind of like,
Yeah.
for any of us, we got to like stick to an idea and actually stick to it for a bit. For it
Yeah.
to actually get out.
A
You
good
can't
point.
be like, oh, I'll do it for a month and see if it's going to work. It's not. You got to stick it out and actually trust that what you're doing is actually going to work and see how it plays out like after a year.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really good point.
Because for
Jumping
me,
all over the place is
I've been doing
terrible.
legs once a week, but I hired a leg coach and he tortures me like once a week. I'm sure, Robin, you can hear me at the gym.
Yeah,
But it's but I like what he had me do is like have me measure my legs when I started with him to now, and I've put on like roughly 3 inches, and the shape has changed completely. So, but I know we discussed it. That's where I lack. That's why I've been working so hard towards it, and it takes me like 4 or 5 days just to recover from a leg day.
yeah. That's funny. I kind of did the similar thing with Eric. We same thing. We did the measurements and all that, but I doubled up leg days. But I basically just did one day that was just pure quads, adductors, and then I would do another day that was just purely glutes and hamstrings, calves, and then I would do adductors again. So I basically just really focused, I guess, on adductors, but overall just adding size to your thighs. That's part of it. And I felt like if I was doing 2 leg days where I was doing like heavy pressing twice or something like that, it was like too much for my knees. Like I couldn't really recover from that. So that's why I split things up like that. But yeah, Joe, what about you, man? Like, you don't really have that many weak points, I would say. But let's say that you could bring up one body part. What would you bring up, and how would you do it if you could
Like, you mean on my own physique?
on your
Or
physique? Yeah,
uh well, typically I would like I kind of agree with what Stu's saying, like, the increased frequency. Because like for me, I found that like with any body part that I've been trying to bring up, like the increase in frequency helps. And then just like, kind of changing up like how you look at it, because I used to like I remember when I started bodybuilding, I was always doing more of a bro split.
Mhm.
And then I got to the point where it's like, okay, certain body parts are more dominant. So, you could look at them as like, you're keeping them in the bro split pattern of like once a week. And then other body parts, it's going to need more emphasis, more volume, more frequency, etc. So I kind of like separate it based on that, and like to where my split is now. And it's like, there's certain body parts I find just need more frequency to further develop, and other body parts, it's like, okay, they don't really need to develop as much. So I just like kind of still do it once a week, but I don't really I don't really stick to the same split I used to like when I started till now. But I'd say like if I'm thinking like a body part I am trying to bring up, it would be probably my chest. And then like midsection is just another area where I really need to, always have that control on stage.
Yeah.
But I, like you guys were saying, like hiring, someone to train you in the gym, like I've done that too. And I've noticed a huge difference on like having that on my weaker point days that I'm trying to bring up. It's like a night and day difference having someone, putting you through the motions than just doing it yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Cause you train with Big Mike, right?
Oh, I did. Yeah, man. I did legs with him this past weekend, and like I almost puked, and I never puke when I train. And on top of that, like I was sore for like at least 3 days
Yeah, the
after
giant
that.
sets, eh? Giant sets.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this won't be too bad. And then like after I was like sitting there for 10 minutes, like collecting myself, it was pretty rough.
Yeah. Stu, have you ever hired someone to train you before, or do you train with a training partner?
No, I first of all, I'm too cheap. Like I barely even get body work done. I did just start doing that again. Um, but like also I'm kind of stubborn. Like I like doing things how I like doing them. I'm not so stubborn that I won't change stuff if I need to like fix shit, but like um I was actually just down in Dallas with Gas for the last weekend, and I kind of forgot how cool it is being in like a competitive gym environment. I mean, not competitive, but like full of people who are like doing what I'm doing. And like I was training with a couple of my buddies down there. And I mean, you guys are all Toronto area, right? So you're
Yeah.
going to Pure for the
Yeah.
most part. Yeah. So I mean, I'm fucking jealous of you guys. You got all those toys, first of all, and you also have like all the people around you. And like, dude, I'm the only pro in Washington. There's like one other competitor who's like legit at my gym. Um, and there's just like none of that ambiance or like what do you call it? So I kind of miss that. I don't have a training partner. I train with my girlfriend sometimes, but she knows how to train hard, so that helps. Yeah, I wonder if that would be something I could, bring in to like up my game, but um there's just not many people to pick from up here.
Yeah.
There's not much bodybuilding.
You know,
It's
the
like,
only thing I would say is with bodybuilders, we're also goddamn stubborn, and we all have
Yeah.
different things that, at this level we're so like hyper focused on the things that we have to do. So sometimes it's actually hard to organize a workout with somebody if you don't have the exact same idea of what you need to do. For example, it's like if I'm trying to train with Joe or something, and he wants to focus on doing more flies, but it's like I had a bicep injury and flies just don't feel great, so I'm focusing more on presses. How are we going to
Mhm.
work out together? So it's like sometimes you get so stubborn, but that's why having a trainer I find is just like turn my brain the fuck off and just, hey, okay, you know what? Let's just leave it up to this guy so I don't have to think, which is it's really nice on contest prep. I'll tell you what. I started, when I was 4 weeks out from like the Canadian Nationals, I hired somebody to push me through. And is actually the guy we were talking about at the beginning of this, Kurt, the Mr. 16 IU Serostim. But he's a pro and all that. And the guy's fucking awesome. And he really pushed me, but I felt like that was when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start investing in this. And then obviously having injuries and stuff, I'm like, okay, well now I really need to just put more money into the body work and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, you get away with it until you get away with it, right? It's like, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's like it's just once it breaks, you're like, okay, now I got to figure out a new solution to this. And sometimes that's when having someone else can help. But yeah,
Yeah.
like you said, the
I
environment
don't
makes a big difference.
I
What's
don't
it?
anticipate that really changing just because like I'm planning on staying in the Northwest here, in
Yeah.
Washington. My family's here. My girlfriend likes it here. And I mean, bodybuilding used to be a little bigger up here. It's never been huge. I don't think I'm just gonna like, find a training partner out of the blue around here, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest. But um, yeah,
Training with your girl though,
train.
training with your girl is pretty fun too. You know what I mean? Like if she's a hardworking girl, there's something good about that.
Yeah, yeah, she trains harder than me sometimes.
Yeah.
Like she knows what she's doing. So
Yeah. Aaron, you train with Emily a lot. Emily is Aaron's girlfriend, wife, sorry, and she's in a wellness IFBB pro. And you guys fucking train just as fucking hard,
She's scared
So,
to show to me.
yeah, man. Sometimes I love training with my girl. The only problem is she always wants to just do glutes, and I'm like, can we just do like a full leg day? She's like, glute focus, right? I'm like, Jesus.
Robin's already got a fat ass. You don't
That's
need
what I'm
that.
saying, dude. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't need that, man. Like, but we're always willing to compromise. That's the good thing about your girl. She's kind of willing to go with your plan most of the time, so it's kind of nice. Especially if she'll push you, right? So yeah. So anyways, guys, the Arnold's coming up pretty soon. How do you guys feel about that the top three?
Who's gonna be there at this
Who's gonna be
rate?
there? Everybody's dropping out because of visa issues or something, but
yeah, the prediction kind of changed since we made it last time. Now there's a couple of guys that dropped out.
I was gonna
But,
say I was gonna say maybe we
Really,
should.
who's coming third? I think.
So I'm gonna pull up the list real quick, and then let's just do our top. Should we do top three or top five?
top five.
Okay, we'll do top
Top
five.
two is kind of, I feel like we already know.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So okay, make sure I share that screen. Okay, good. There we go. We're good. And let's start, Kurt. Let's start with you first, brother.
Is my video frozen?
Yeah, I can't see you.
I
Yeah,
don't see him either.
Scroll down.
it's okay though. We can hear
Okay.
you.
What are we doing? Top five?
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can see you
Okay.
guys.
Yeah. So let's do top five for everybody. Put you on the spot first here.
Heidi, Samson.
Yeah.
Antoine.
Antoine a second. That's a good call.
No, he put Hadi, I think, first.
Yeah, Heidi
Oh,
first.
did you? Sorry, I didn't hear
Yeah,
you.
sorry.
My mistake.
Antoine.
Antoine third. Yep.
It's tough, man.
Very tough.
Horse.
Okay.
Shit. Go with James.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Why not? I
I
think
like
all
how-
of them are fantastic.
I
Yeah.
like how nobody actually calls him Marcelo. It's just horse.
Yeah. All right, Stu,
me
top
next.
five.
Okay, yeah. Hottie 1.
Yeah.
Samson 2. Fuck. I want to have Antoine up there because I love him, but like I think he'll probably be in 4th. So let's put James in 3rd, Antoine in 4th, and fuck it. Can you scroll back up?
Yeah.
I can't see the list.
Raphael, man, don't sleep on Raphael. I think he's coming.
Yeah, bro, he's been off the stage for a while, and he's not been super consistent.
New coach,
he
too.
always gets shredded, but then he gets like, I think, diuretic out, and he just like looks like a pancake. Like that's what happened at the last Olympia he did.
Yeah.
In my eyes, but
Back that I find is the weakest.
yeah, but his back looks pretty good right now. I think Horse's back is going to hold him back. Forgive the pun. If he's, because he's got all these beautiful lines and everything, but I mean, he just doesn't have it back there. 5th place. I'm going to put Brandao in there, Raphael.
Yeah. Brando. All right. Aaron.
Oh, man. I'm gonna throw Samson in first, and then Hadi. Go back to the top. Think James. I'll put James in 3rd.
James is looking really good, man. Like he's looking like he's
Yeah, he
been
looks crazy.
the most conditioned he's been. So looking forward to seeing that.
I feel like Raphael and then Horse would be 5th there. Pretty similar, like pretty structures.
Yeah. Joe?
Can I put a caveat on mine? I think-
Maybe.
I think Hottie deserves to win hands down. Like competitively, he's miles ahead of Samson, but he had that little stunt, and they really like Samson at the Arnold.
So you think he
Is,
deserves to win physique wise, but he just pulled a dick move, or you think?
I think maybe there was some misunderstanding, some lost in translation there. Like I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think what he did was like super inappropriate. But they're not happy with him, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened to Ramy when he didn't go to Pittsburgh.
I know.
Kiss the ring, dude.
Yeah. Pretty much. But I feel like you also, if you do, in Hottie's case, I think it wasn't like blatantly disrespectful. It was just he let the emotion, make that situation kind of. He made it apparent that he was emotional about that situation, but he wasn't necessarily like overly rude. I think with Ramy, it's almost worse because he just didn't show up for a guest wasn't he supposed to be at, and nobody knew, and there's probably people just waiting on him. Like his coach didn't even know where he was. Like, oh yeah, he just not responding to my messages. Someone waiting for him at the airport, just like, okay,
Yeah, and that's in the
So-
man's backyards. You don't snub those guys.
yeah,
So-
yeah. I mean, what's worse, a grapefruit or not showing up to a guest post you're supposed to be at? Really. We won't go there anyway. So
We'll
back
leave that to the
back to the
fans.
back to the article. So Joe, top 5.
I'm gonna go with Samson in first. Partially because of what Stu said, but also because like the posing routine and that presentation is huge at the Arnold. So I feel like that's gonna play in Samson's favor. So if it's close between him and Hadi, I feel like that could give him the edge. And then Hadi in second. Put James in third as well. Because like James is actually looking pretty crazy, and I think he'll get rewarded for that. Fourth, I'm gonna go with Horse, and then fifth, Antoine, because I think Antoine's gonna shock some people and be in the mix.
He always looks better than he does on the internet, like on stage.
Yeah,
He's a big
yes.
guy.
I saw him. Yeah, I saw him on the weekend. I was like, his fucking face was like sunken right in and everything too. And I'm like, all right, he's bringing it.
He does look really good. He looks, yeah, in clothes, it's kind of deceiving because he looks like not as big, but when he takes his clothes off, it's like he's really conditioned. He's really hard as nails this time. So yeah, I think that's a good call. It'd be awesome to see him, like, because I see him in the posing room a lot, talking about presentation at the Arnold, I see him in there for an hour every day. So yeah. Justin, what do you got? Top 5?
Yeah, I put Hadi last time. I think I'm gonna go with Samson.
Okay, switching it up.
Yeah, just because of the last updates I saw, he looks like his conditions coming in a lot better. And I've watched a couple of conversations also. Like the judging seems to really, really like Samson, and they only seem to talk about him getting in condition. And I think if he really nails it, I think that's what's going to make him pass Hadi, because I think they really will reward him if he does get in condition. That obviously that comes in with the caveat that he does get in condition, but if he does, I think he's got it. So I'm gonna put him first. And then Hadi would be second, and I'm gonna put Raphael in third.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, Raphael, honestly, like he looks a lot bigger than he was, and his condition's always good. And he was ahead of James at the Olympia at that point, even though even if he was maybe a little on the flat side, he was still a couple places above James. And I think the improvement of Raphael will be more than what James has done.
Fair enough. What about 4th and 5th then?
Fourth, I think I'd put James in fourth. I'd put James in fourth, and I would put Horse in fifth.
Pretty good picks. I'm doing Samson first, Hadi second. I think I'm going to go with Brandeo as well, just because I've seen him in person. I think he's really big. James, and then Antoine. I've seen all these guys in person, so I feel like, I don't know, it's hard to compare when you've never seen someone in person. Justin, though, he's kind of like the guy that I feel like if he could get conditioned too, then he could maybe knock out like some of maybe the Horse, James, potentially. But that's probably the biggest wild card, I would say.
What Arnold he did, he looked wild, Justin.
Justin's kind of the guy that if he's really on, he could be as far as third.
Yes.
And then if he's off, he could be fucking dead last.
He's got some of the craziest biceps, man. Like his biceps are just
and he's wide. Crazy wide.
Yeah.
Baseballs in there.
He doesn't look like he's in shape at all until he gets on stage. He just looks like
this year, though, he
super soft. It's so weird.
Yeah, this year's a little different, I find. Seems to be a little harder this far out compared to usual.
Well, I mean, I guess like you're always getting criticized for it, right? It's like like when are you gonna like finally consider that and just get conditioned earlier, I guess, right? I
Well,
mean,
I think his issue might just be like legit, like a lot of water. Because we
yeah,
see him in a couple of weeks out and he doesn't look like he's going to be there. And then boom, he shows up. He's like, he looks pretty good. And sometimes he looks incredible. But I think he's inconsistent probably just because if he is dealing with a bunch of water, then that's harder to get off. And there's probably more shit you got to do to actually nail it. And there's more variables there and it's more likely to fuck up. So.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I mean, I've had that experience too, where I don't look anything like remotely close to like I'm gonna be in shape, and then the last 4 weeks it all just comes off. The water falls off, and I look good. So you know, everybody's different.
But yeah, like Stu said, it's I think in his case, because it's so close to show where he gets in shape, I think that's kind of like that variable where you're like, it's a hit and miss. So you can nail it really, really well. But I feel like the guys are more consistent. Like the guys like Hottie, you see them like 5 weeks out, they look like they're ready to step on stage, you know? Like these guys are always on because they don't rely on the fact of, okay, let's fucking hope it fucking works, you know? And I feel like Justin is kind of that guy where he really gets in shape like last minute. And I guess sometimes it gets he does well, and then sometimes it just misses the mark, you know?
Yeah, Stu, I feel like you stay like pretty hard like all the time, like condition in your off season. You know, I think that.
I yeah, dude, I struggle to get fat. I've always like really had to force feed myself. I've always had a fast metabolism. My appetite sucks. So, I'm not one of these guys where like I'll be having a bunch of cheat meals all week and like I'll like be forcing a bunch or bringing a bunch of extra food in and I overshoot what I need to be bringing in.
Mhm.
If anything, if I could have more cheats, if I could like stomach that, it would probably be good for me in the off season, getting the extra calories in. But yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. It also what ends up happening is because I'm eating so much, my appetite's kind of bleh. When it comes time to diet, like I'm not hungry until 5 or 6 weeks out, really, which makes the whole process a breeze. Um, and, it gets shitty at the end, just like it always does, just from being that lean. But my food intake stays pretty high. I'm very blessed like that.
Do you ever eat dirty food, or you kind of just always eat clean? Maybe once a week cheat, or like what do you do normally?
Yeah, sometimes I'll do that, sometimes I won't. Like honestly, if I have a cheat, like if I go to my parents' house and my mom makes dinner, she's a very good cook, amazing food, but like I'll eat like half the calories
Mhm.
in that meal that I'm having with her, as opposed to like if I were to just eat my regular food, because like again, I'm just forcing it down. So, I get a chance for a little break and I'm like, oh, great. Okay. Just enjoy a meal for once
Yeah.
instead of shoveling it. So
Yeah, I find it always fucks you up though if you are like you're so clean all the time, then you have a cheat meal and that might disrupt your appetite. That's what kind of always gets me. So I feel like the cleaner I am most of the time, the better. Even like if I'm choosing like a cheat meal to pick something that's not gonna like if I eat a burger and fries because celiac and all that shit, it ruins me and it makes no sense because even though I'm getting a lot
yeah,
of calories, it causes so much inflammation. So I mean, I guess that's like, it's one of the blessings and the curses of, I guess, having like IBS and stuff. Like Aaron, I know you have IBS too. And like I say it's a blessing because it forces you to be clean and be way more mindful, versus other guys that can just like eat whatever for calories. But obviously it's a curse for, obviously that's self-explanatory. But how do you deal with IBS, Aaron? Like, is there certain foods that you absolutely avoid, or what do you do?
For sure. I'm like very strict now and eat the same foods every day.
Yeah.
Just 'cause I know what sits well, and I kind of pick foods that I kind of enjoy and just stick to them. Simple
Yeah.
as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your go-to carbs? Like rice and cream of rice mostly, potatoes, that's it.
And carbolin.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, for
Carbs.
sure.
No ton of intra-carbs.
Yeah, you need like a good
Yeah.
amount of carb powder to get like over 1,000 grams of carbs in every
Yeah.
day, I
I
guess.
think just over 1,000 grams on training days.
Yeah. Justin, do you drink a lot of carb powder or not really? You just eat food?
Just around the workout. So
Yeah.
like intra workout and just the post workout.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
but yeah, like it's the easiest way to get
those carbs in when you're eating some close to 1,000 grams of carbs. I'm not 1,000, but I'm close for sure.
Yeah. Kurt, are you a fan of carb drinks,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Peri-workout and whatnot?
Yeah. Yep.
Well, what would you say is the optimal way to, I guess, disperse your carbohydrates peri-workout? Intra, post, pre,
Pre,
equal,
intra, post. Yeah.
just equal all through?
Yeah. I mean, I don't use as personally, I can't use as many intra. If I go more than 50 during, kind of too much water goes to my stomach.
Yeah.
But I have guys that can do 100 grams while they're lifting.
I do like 150 and I'm fine.
Okay. You're much bigger than me though. So
It's fine though. It's crazy.
Yeah. Stu, do you drink carbs during your workout?
Yeah, I've actually got my post-workout shake that I'm putting off right now, but I'll have 65, 85, 85. So like just over 200 grams between pre, intra, and post. Pre, I do Gatorade just because it's cheap and it doesn't really bother my stomach. When I'm actually training, I'll have cyclic dextrin. I've tried Carbon before and it sits okay with me. I've got a pretty robust stomach, but I think cyclic dextrin just is a little bit better.
I would
then-
go with that, but it's like more expensive.
It is, yeah, it's expensive. And then post-workout, I just use dextrose powder because again, it's cheap. And at that point, like I don't really care if it's going to bother my stomach because I'm drinking it after I train, and then I'll have a meal an hour and a half after, something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm actually doing the math right now on how much I
Dextrose is pretty
eat
hard
throughout the day. I'm at like 930, probably like 950 carbs a day right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
For this, like the second lightest guy here, it's not bad.
Yeah. My carbs are probably the lowest right now. Kurt, what are your carbs at?
mine
Yeah.
are like proportionally really strange for my size. Over 1,000 usually.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Joe, what about you? What are your carbs at right now?
Well, I carb cycle, so I guess it's different. But
Yeah.
like high days, I do 2 high days. It's like 1,000, and then like my moderate days, which are still training days, I'm probably doing around like just over 600. And then like rest days, I think it's like around 400. Yeah.
That's pretty low.
But I like it because like I stay leaner doing it like that, like it's kind of like I'm not the same as the Stu in that regard, but like if I ate more like that, I'd probably put on more body fat. But I kind of like just like being able to stay tighter in the off season because like whenever I blow up too heavy, I just feel like shit.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna stay tighter next off season. You guys will see.
Trust me, guys, this time.
This time, yeah.
You sound like Beatty, bro.
Yeah.
He's so bad about that.
I know. That's why I was laughing with him, man. Like me and him are like so similar in that regard. Just trying not to get to 300 pounds. Like I stepped on the scale today and it was 299. I took a picture. I was laughing. I'm like, I'm fucking dieting, man. Like, come on.
I think I found that over the years, I mean, like 2 years ago, and my off season in 2021, my carbs are up to like 1,200. Like, and last year it was less than that, and this year it's been less than that again. I find that like and over each of those years, that each off season has been a little bit tidier, a little bit leaner. Like I think that the amount of food that I need now is lesser just because like I already have most of the muscle on me that I kind of need.
Yeah.
2 3 years ago I did not. It was like I was still a heavyweight at that point. So but as I go further along, like I don't have stomach issues yet. Hopefully I don't develop them, but like I don't want to blow out my waist. So like eventually, like I don't want to get more than 20 pounds over stage weight really in my off season. Keep the food lower, keep leaner, but just kind of be in striking distance all the time. Because like we're all professionals, right? There's shows that pop out throughout the year.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit, can I get in shape for that in 8 weeks? Like, yeah, okay. I want to be able to do that eventually.
Just healthier too, right? Like just carrying
Yeah.
around a little bit less mass all the time. Like walk around like 260, like or 270, I guess, maybe like 10 to 20 pounds away from stage weight versus like walking around at 300. Obviously, that's way less stress in your body. So, it also for me, like it just feels better. Like, you guys feel better like when you're a little bit leaner
Oh my
versus
God.
being
Yeah.
like, right. Yeah, 100%. So, yeah. But anyways, what's up with those beef sheets, man? Like, do you just hate hamburgers or something? Or what's going on?
It's the lowest effort way to cook meat that I've ever found. So like I'm lazy as fuck, so I just throw it all on there, squish it, and yeah, gets the job done. I have a meat grinder that I was using for a while, and we get like really cheap cuts of beef, like lean cheap cuts from like the restaurant store or whatever, and we grind it up and we just like put it straight onto the sheet out of the grinder. And I mean, yeah, it's gross looking, but it tastes the same as if you threw it on your grill or whatever in your pan. Um, I'm kind of disgusted at how that's taken off as like a meme.
Um, yeah, 100%. I used to do some fucked up shit. You know what? One of the worst combinations of food I think I ever did that I can't stomach anymore is tuna, canned tuna, and sweet potato.
Oh
So
no.
I used to bring that to school with me, and I used to open that up in class and just eat it like it was nothing. But
And
now,
you wondered why you didn't have any friends.
oh, I didn't wonder. I was like, yeah, I'm fucking weird, man. Like,
That's rude, man. That's very rude.
you know what's odd too is that, funny enough, like for some reason, there's a part of Toronto that I went to school in Scarborough, and I was the only white kid in my class. So the thing that I heard the most, I'm not kidding, was, "Yo, this man is deezed. Yo, this man's deezed every day,
Deezed?
every day, deezed."
Can anybody translate?
No, that's the slang for jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Deezed.
deezed. Yeah. So I was like, okay. And these guys would always just bring like McDonald's to class every day, and I'm there eating my fucking tuna. Yeah. Anyways, what's the most fucked up thing that you guys have ever eaten, like for bodybuilding purposes? Justin, what about any weird combinations to get all that food down?
I think I did tuna also. I did a couple. Honestly, it was stuff that it's weird. It's just that I really didn't care. So like I would just boil chicken white and no spice, no nothing. It would taste like fucking dirt. And I would just get it down, you know? It's just uh but ask me to do that now, and I'd say no way. Like I wouldn't do it now. Like I'll make an effort to like make it taste good a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But before I just didn't care. Like I would boil everything, no spice, no nothing, and just I would get it down, and that's it, you know. But I think because everything was very new, also, like I was getting into bodybuilding, so everything's like it's
Sure.
exciting, you know. But once you've done it for like what I've been doing this for 8 years, maybe. Like it's just like at one point you're like you get if you want to be like consistent or year after year, you have to find ways to make it taste good a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
At least put sauce on it, you know.
for sure. It's fucking disgusting, man. I remember when I first started like making like protein pancakes, the Walden Farms, the syrup, like the pancake syrup.
Oh,
Like that shit's pretty good. Honestly, that stuff is not bad. But have you ever tried any of their other products? They're so fucking revolting, man.
oh,
Like,
I don't know what they put in there,
dude,
but
I tried the marshmallow dip once. It tasted like chemicals. Like it was the
yeah.
most disgusting thing ever. Yeah. The chocolate dip was pretty good. I'm not even gonna lie. I was eating that.
It always cracks me up when you see like bikini girls, whipping that shit out at the end of prep. Like, honey, you're grasping the straws here. It's not gonna make it easier.
Yeah, for sure.
And I bet it would fuck your stomach up, right? Because you got
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
yeah, so bad. Even what's fucked up is even like the sugar-free ketchup was fucking my stomach up because it had yeast in it.
oh shoot. Okay.
So I was like, oh my God, now I'm reading all the packages looking for yeast. I'm like throwing out all my favorite sauces. I'm like, oh, whatever. Frank's Red Hot though, man, it's loyal as fuck. It's always good. So,
Tabasco,
yeah,
red and
it's
green
good.
Tabasco, solid.
Tabasco is good too. Yeah, I'm a Frank's guy myself though. If I had to pick.
I think the worst thing I've eaten was probably I got my wisdom teeth out, and I was like, fuck, I still gotta get my food down. So I had at that point I was baking my chicken in the oven, and I tried to like put just chicken and rice directly into a blender. Yeah, and I blended it up, and it turned into this pink fucking paste slurry. I
Oh,
was like, no, not doing that again. I just went a couple days without eating, dude.
Yeah.
Wasn't worth it.
I was gonna say, man, like you don't have any stomach problems now. If you kept doing that, you probably would. I think that I honestly think that's one of the reasons why I have stomach problems now, man. I used to
Did
do
you
that
used to
a
blend your
lot,
shit like that?
every day
Oh,
for an entire year. Yeah.
that's
I
you,
took an extended off season from 2019. New York Pro, I
Mhm.
got 10th place, Toronto Pro, I got 7th place. And then I took the entire 2020 off to come back in 2021. And that's what I did, dude. Like my coach was like, okay, 1,000+ grams of carbs every day. I don't care how you get it in. So I was pouring like apple juice in there with chicken breast, rice, like tuna. Like I was just like, I didn't give a fuck. I'm like, I'm drinking stuff and projectile vomiting into the sink. And you know what I mean? I'm like texting him like, yo, I'm fucking late for the gym. I'm sorry. Like I was like sweating, throwing up. Uh, yeah.
was
That's
so
when
on
I
the one
decided, yeah.
hand, like you're mechanically breaking it down before it even goes into your stomach, like completely, which would speed up your digestion, right?
Yeah.
But you're also not getting any of the saliva to
Yeah.
like start that breakdown in your mouth. So I
The
guess,
saliva would come after, bro. Like
yeah,
I would drink it all, and then the saliva would start after.
so when you know you're gonna throw up.
Oh, so yeah. So just don't keep doing that. I mean, I think, yeah. I was like super fucked up at the time. I'm like, I have to drink this.
I
Now
was
I see
tempted,
people doing it. I'm like shaking my head. I'm like, please don't.
tempted to do that, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I do? It's kind of weird. It's nothing like gross. It's actually tastes pretty good. I put like bone broth or like chicken broth in with my like rice pasta. I throw peas in there for some color, and then my chicken.
No, that
For
actually sounds
color.
good. Yeah.
That actually is unreal. Yeah, it goes down.
That's actually funny. I started putting bone broth in my fish and rice just because it's kind of dry and like I
Oh yeah.
makes it less dry. So that's kind of a fucked up thing right there. Yeah. What
Yeah.
about you, Joe? Eating pretty normal over there or what?
I'd say no, like I was thinking about like the weirdest thing I ever ate. Like when I first started bodybuilding, I would just eat like plain cottage cheese. And then I had a time where I just like I was bringing it with me like to work or something, and I ate it like on my break, and then I ended up like throwing up because it had gone bad. So after I got sick from it, I never really ate cottage cheese again. But that was probably like the weirdest thing I ate. But I would also like I would mix like tuna and pineapple and rice when I was in college, and I'd just be eating a huge ass Tupperware container of that during like lectures, and that everybody thought it was weird, but they're like, whatever, he's like the big guy, must be working. Um, but yeah, now like I feel like now like I try to make my food taste as good as I can. Like I'm always like whenever I'm home, I'm always trying to like, reheat food in the frying pan and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And I try and season it well, but like I never really use condiments. Like I always get out of using them in prep, and even in the off season, I find like I don't really use them as much because I find that's when if I get any digestive issues, it's always like when I start using condiments more. So I just like pretty much just avoid them now and just like season my food with whatever and then reheat it in the frying pan. I find that enough is good to make it like, appetizing.
Yeah, for sure. Kurt, I know you got to head out pretty soon. Can you stay for a bit? You got to go.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay, cool. Do you guys want to jump into some questions then? Because Kurt's got to leave pretty
I,
soon.
I got one more thing. So
Yeah.
the first real off season I ever had, this is like 2018, I think. So I was like, okay, I gotta get a lot of food in, right? This is the first time I ever hit 250. And what I was doing is like I'd have these chocolate milk, oats, peanut butter, and protein powder shakes that I'd blend up like one in the morning and one in the evening. And I guess chocolate milk's cool again. So I did it before it was cool. But
Always
like
been cool.
I was probably having like half a gallon of chocolate milk a day between the two of those things with all the other shit in there. And then for like I wouldn't actually have individually packaged meals. I would have like a bed of rice in like those containers that you store a bunch of chicken in, like 10 pounds of chicken.
Yeah.
It was like a storage container, right? And I just put like a bed of rice in there, a bunch of gravy, like gravy packet mix, and then ground beef patties. And it was actually pretty good. And I just kind of like gradually eat that over the day. And my rule for myself was like, okay, I just gotta finish this shit by the end of the day, cap it off with these two shakes, and I'm gonna get bigger. And I got so fucking strong doing that. I also got super fat. but
Just like
this
a
is what you
cow,
do
just
when you-
grazing all day like a cow.
Yeah, yeah, dude. I was like 21. I was like, fuck it, we're gonna do this. So
Man, I remember I used to do a lot of. You guys ever used to do a lot of mass gainers back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Those
Tried
would fuck
those.
your stomach up, man.
7 pounds in 7 days.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
I've
So
never done
yeah,
those, man.
the worst thing that ever happened to me was I was doing a lot of mass gainer, like 4 scoops, just trying to get that thing in. And I remember like it would just always like gurgle, like my stomach would be gurgling for hours and I'd be farting so much. And one day I was trying to come home from school and I had to take 2 buses to come home. Literally, I'm walking, and as I'm walking, it's gurgling, and I'm like, please, I have to make it home. And like I was trying with all my might, and I was walking across a park. It was a street. My house was on the next street. All I had to do was get across the park, and I couldn't. So I just stopped. I was like starting to walk faster, and I was just like, nope. And I just had to, say my prayer, and then I had to walk in shame all the way home, straight to the shower, take everything off in a garbage bag
Oh,
shower.
and then you had another shake.
I thought you were gonna take a shit in the
Never
park.
did mass gainers ever again. Ever. I don't care how clean you say they are, it's just,
They are better now, but yeah, before they were bad.
yeah.
Dude, you just put
Yeah.
whatever is in there. It's cheap, right? That's what they used to do.
The cheaper, yeah, the cheaper the better, right? So, fuck, so bad. All right, so we got some good questions here.
Managed to get one shit story in
Yeah,
on the pod.
exactly. I had to. Do you ever worry? This is a great one. I love this question. Do you ever worry about all the chemicals you are injecting into your body?
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck it, we ball.
What do you think? What do you think, Kurt? Are you worried about the chemicals you're injecting in your body?
I get labs. They come out pretty good.
It's a good point. It's a good point. I
My-
think we do worry. That's
We
why.
do
That's
worry,
why we.
that's why we get labs. But
Yeah, that's why we take precautions. I
I
mean,
mean,
of course,
I
yeah,
can send you my last labs. On all that Serostem, my glucose was a 77. My A1C was a 5.
yeah.
So
How much is that much Serostim?
like cost wise,
Well, no, like how many units were you doing?
a bottle a day, 18.
Ah, whoa. You sure it was real? With
I get
your
it
blood
from-
sugar that low?
I work, yeah. I mean, I work around people with AIDS, so it's coming right from the pharmacy.
All right.
Need that.
I was telling Kurt, I knew a pro, Canadian pro who also told me he did that to get his pro card, and he was like 5'11", 270 on stage.
Yeah, I went
Fuck.
from 210 to 236 and really fast. And then when I went back to like 6 units, I dropped back to like 215. So I kept like half of it. The other half was water.
I think
My wife remarked to me, sorry.
My coach Blue did a similar thing. He was doing like 4 doses a day, but he's crazy. He was doing IV shots of Serostim. So he'd just be like sticking it in his arm here, And he said he started getting these weird, like bony growths on his fingers, on his finger joints, on his face and stuff. And he cut that shit out pretty quick. But yeah.
We were doing it the same. So like Chase Irons,
This guy right
Yeah.
here.
all the guys were doing.
Porn, my bad.
Um,
This guy right here. Look, that's Mike Van Wyck beside him right there, by the way.
Oh shit.
Jerome Bravo, right?
Jerome Bravo, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Fucking 270 on stage. Imagine if that guy did a pro show, how he could have done.
What happened to him?
He just never did a pro show, man. He was a
Oh.
fucking freak.
He
He won
turned
the
pro and then he just disappeared.
2014 Nationals, and then he just disappeared, bro. And then he came back and he just lost all size. So, but I trained with him. That was the guy I was talking about, Kurt, like who coached me and everything. Like, so it's anyways. I mean, of course we worry about this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure we think about it every day, every time we inject, every time we take stuff. It's a little bit on our minds, but it's like, do you worry about getting injured at the gym? Of course you fucking do. That's why you train with caution. Like everything, you have to think about it and worry about something in order to care. but we're not going to let that control our decisions all the time. And like, oh, we're not going to take anything because we're too scared. Like, no, we're fucking pro bodybuilders. Of course, we're going to take
The
gear.
problem is finding a doctor that's willing to help too.
Yeah.
It's
Oh my
true.
God,
It's
yeah,
kind of
it's
on
gotta be
you. I
so
feel like,
bad in
Yeah.
Canada.
I mean, if people reach out to me on my web, I can hook people up with. If I can't help them, I can hook people up with other doctors that can help them.
Yeah.
yeah, that's huge respect, Kurt. Yeah, so that's awesome, man. We really appreciate that.
It's got to be so bad in Canada, though. I've heard it's really hard to get a doctor.
My
there, just,
doctor-
In
regular
every other
appointment.
country.
Yeah. My doctor was a doctor taking care of bodybuilders. The only problem is he was like 77 years old and he got Parkinson's. And
Right.
so he didn't want to retire, but he also never called me back when I called him. So I was like,
I have a new doctor too
yeah,
in Canada.
yeah,
They're really good with that stuff,
yeah.
which is nice. It's more or less my biggest concern always has with just blood pressure, making sure I keep that under control, especially being like 340. So those things you want to monitor and check.
Yeah. That's a really good point. That's going to be the biggest killer for us.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that people don't tend to focus too much on.
Mhm.
You guys have a machine at home? Like Aaron, did you get a machine that you can check?
Yeah, I have one.
If you guys don't have one, the best one to get is the extra large cuff on Amazon.
Just say the cuff doesn't fit anybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It'll fit you, Justin. It's 23 inches.
No, I got one. I got one.
I know.
Hey, Robin, I just sent you a copy of my recent labs from 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You don't need to put them up. I just took my name off the top just so
Yeah.
they end up on the internet.
Looks pretty clean to me.
My doctor said it was the best triglycerides he's ever seen.
It is really good. So proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, blood pressure and cholesterol are
Yeah.
like because blood pressure, obviously you run high blood pressure for too long, you're going to have kidney issues.
Yeah.
And potentially LVH too, because your heart's working so much harder to pump. And then cholesterol, if you have shit cholesterol for an extended period of time, you're gonna run into atherosclerosis, which is plaque buildup in your arteries. And then obviously, when we're getting ready for shows or whatever, like you're gonna have sort of acute raised numbers in like your liver and potentially in your kidneys. But unless you're doing the shit that elevates that, so like orals and tren and all the nasty shit you got to do before shows, if you're doing that year round,
Yeah.
then you're going to have issues there. But it is kind of like a temporary thing that will fix itself. Kidneys won't fix themselves if you actually cause damage to them, but they can be put under stress and they're going to be taken off of stress eventually.
For sure. This is a good question here. Would you guys rather live in one big house together and sleep in the living room together, or have poverty apartments alone?
I can't share a kitchen.
I'm taking the big house. I am not doing the poverty.
Who's
Either
it for?
way, either way, with a poverty apartment, usually you're sharing a kitchen. So let's just say either way, you're going to share a kitchen, man. Might as well share it with other big boys who are cooking the same fucking food.
Better have a
Yeah,
schedule.
could we designate one guy to be the cook?
Oh yeah.
Like the
Oh, yeah.
best. I mean, Joe's probably the best cook from what
Yeah, I
he
can
was
see
just
Joe being
saying,
the
right?
best cook.
Actually puts effort in. So
Me and Joe will have a cook off, and you guys can pick who's you want to eat. Yeah, man. I stayed in a poverty apartment once, and I had to share a kitchen with some people. And I went to the kitchen one morning, and this guy was making a sandwich. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll just like sit here like at the table and like chill on my phone and wait for him. It took him an hour, bro, to make a fucking sandwich. So I'm like, I need to get the fuck out of here, man. So needless to say, I'm picking the big house. Funny question though. Kurt, you staying in the big house with us or what?
I'm saying.
Okay, cool. Making sure.
wait, if we all have to sleep in the fucking living room together, like we all have CPAPs, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a lot of
Yeah.
snoring.
All
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
tubes
like
are intertwined for sure.
That's got to be a requirement. Like you're not sleeping in the house. You're sleeping on the fucking lawn if you don't have your CPAP with you, because you're gonna be making too
There's
much
gonna be like
noise.
so many rules in place. Like everybody's gonna have their own fucking like capsule. Imagine if someone walked in on that house, like someone tried to break in. They're just like, oh shit, never mind.
We're all going to jail. Yeah.
Fucking experiment going on in here. Just a bunch of guys just like fucking sleeping like all on their backs with the fucking CPAPs. All right. Gosh, this is a good question. Do your families support your bodybuilding careers or no?
At first, no, they didn't really understand it because I played hockey my whole life. But as soon as they saw me like how serious I was taking it, became more successful in it, I guess they started to appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Stu? Are your parents supportive of bodybuilding?
They're kind of laissez-faire with stuff. So, um, you know, they, I had a bit of a rough departure when I left home for college. You know, we were on great terms. We're super good now, but that kind of communicated to them that like if they get in the way of me doing what I want to do, then I'm just gonna like not have them in my life, right? So like um they kind of trust that I'm doing what's safe and right for me. And I think they're happy that I've invested myself into something that's ultimately become productive in
Yeah.
the sport. Because I mean, I know myself, like I could have gotten into partying or like all kinds of dumb shit. Um, I'm really like all or nothing with what I do, and they know that. So um, I think now that like I'm competing at a professional level, and like they're starting to see like, oh, okay, this is actually what he does for a living. Then um, they're a lot more you know okay with it. My dad's an engineer. He's a very practical man. He's just basically just like, okay, take precautions, don't be an idiot. My mom's always worried, but that's your mom. Like that's her job. You'd be worried if she wasn't worried. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, they get it. They get what it does for me,
Mhm.
so that they're happy with that.
Yeah. What about you, Justin? Did your parents support you jumping on the gear, or do they even know, or
Yeah, they know.
you know?
They kind of suspected when I walked in at 340,
You
but
can't really hide it. It's like, where the fuck did my son go?
yeah, no, but honestly, like my dad never missed a show. Like he's been there. It's my first show when I was men's physique on until all the shows that were like closer in the area. Obviously, when it was like in Vancouver or whatever, he couldn't come, but he was on the pay-per-view. He was watching. Like they're my biggest fans. Honestly, I can never like say anything. Obviously, like Stu said, like my mom's super worried, but she understands it more now because before before when I started, it was a little tougher. But I actually coached her to do a show on her own also.
Oh, that's pretty
So
cool.
yeah, I coached her to get on stage about 3 years ago. So it was kind of like a challenge for her. She was 54 years old. She was like, you know what? I could do this, And obviously, like we've heard this so many times, but she actually did it. So I was like, I said, look, if you can show me that you can be like on point, I'll coach you all year for your show. And that's what I did. And when she saw what it was and what it required, then she understood the game and she understood why it was so addicting for me and why I liked it so much. So then after that, she was always supportive, but now she understands it a lot more. And again, same for her. Like every show that was close, she would come. And I'm pretty sure, like my first pro show, she's probably going to come wherever it is.
No, that's so cool, man. I can only imagine like coaching my mom for a show.
But that
Yeah,
was pretty special, man. It was pretty cool.
yeah.
I wouldn't listen to shit. I know that.
But yeah, my mom asked me advice on things, and like I know she doesn't do it. You know, like I gave her a tub of protein. I'm like, Mom, just you eat oatmeal in the morning, just put a scoop of this in there, like because she's like losing muscle, right? She just doesn't eat any protein. Put a scoop in here. Like I guarantee she hasn't touched it.
And you know what? And you know what? She got shredded. Like she was peeled. Like she was actually too peeled for bikini because that's
Yeah,
what I was about her.
that minute that
I saw like, okay, like the genetic part to get lean was from her. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like she got really lean really quickly.
the menopause too helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thin skin there. Yeah.
Yeah. Kurt, do you have kids?
I do. So yeah, my situation's probably different. My
Yeah.
dad got me into this stuff when I was a little kid.
Oh,
He was a
shit.
doctor. We share research back and forth now.
How would you approach it with your kids now? Like assuming if they wanted to use.
They're young. I have an 8-year-old and a 13-year-old. If they wanted to get into this, I'm not going to stop them. I think that'd be totally hypocritical. I did it natural for a long time first. I think that would be the smartest way, unless like the guys on this panel all have world-class genetics. So I think that that's a different situation. If you're really gonna be able to take it that far, I think it might be different when you start. If you're not going to be, on a pro, like Stu, how long did you compete for before you turned pro?
First show was 2017 and turned pro
Okay.
in 22. So
Yeah. So not that
Yeah.
long.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that
I
was
think
my
that
first
that's,
national show too. So
yeah. So I think like if obviously someone has those genetics, I think that might dictate it a little differently.
Mhm.
I don't know. I would rather them learn and be honest with me and me teach them how to do stuff the right way.
Yeah. Well, they'd have
You
the
know,
right dad, that's for sure.
I would hope so.
How young, or I guess how old would you say would be an acceptable age if they had asked you, hey dad, how long should I wait? I'm thinking about this. When should I start?
In their 20s. I think in their 20s.
Yeah.
I think. I mean,
Yeah.
again, it probably depends on the person. I think like outside of my children, I would say is you have to be able to afford the right stuff, right? You have to be able to afford to see a doctor if things go wrong, to be responsible enough to eat the right food. There's other stuff that goes along with taking gear. I think
Yeah.
the kids
There's so
don't.
many whys too. It's like you probably want to ask a million whys,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not super big fan of like teenagers doing it, but again,
Yeah.
each their own, right?
Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, in that situation, it's a perfect situation if they ever wanted to ask you advice. All the information is right there at their fingertips. But as a parent, you can't control what they do,
No.
you
No,
know?
and then my kids are very well aware of what I do to some extent. Like I, I caught myself in a really weird conversation. My daughter's 13. I caught myself in a weird conversation where I was explaining to her how trenbolone is made in a lab versus how it used to be made from pellets. And then my wife was staring at me like, what are you doing?
most bodybuilders don't even know that, and your
I was
daughter
like,
does.
maybe this isn't a good conversation to have with my 13-year-old daughter.
Yeah. That was a pretty interesting Instagram post. I didn't know. I didn't know
Which
that.
one?
The trenbolone one with the pellets.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah, no.
You didn't know about that shit?
I didn't know it was real.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
dude.
which still is.
I didn't know humans actually used that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
more difficult now because there's a polymer and stuff in them. So like
Yeah.
I work on a project with Merck still where we look at those. Not quite as easy. I wouldn't use the ones now. There's like
Yeah.
literally plastic in it.
I honestly just thought it was like an old wives' tale. Like, yeah, we used to shoot,
No.
like, yeah, okay, bro.
You
Uh,
could snort them, grind them up, snort them,
yeah,
rub
Jesus
them on your
Christ.
skin.
Well, there you go.
Evan Centopani put up some post referencing that a little while ago, and I was like, dude, you're so fucking cool. Like, you're old school.
Yeah, how bad do you want it? Do a couple more. We've been on for a while. Actually, we already just answered this one. How many shows did you do before turning pro? So, Stu, how many years did you train naturally before jumping on?
I kind of started in high school, and then I went through a binge drinking phase in college when I got there, and then I was like, fuck that. I don't like this. Then I got serious into training. I was probably training naturally. I give myself like 2 years roughly. And then I did my first show in 2017 and started right after my first show. Um, like I used some Clen and like some SARMs in my first prep that I don't think did anything. Um, and then my first cycle experience was a fucking train wreck. Because to make a long story short, I was listening to Tony Huge a bunch at the time, back in 2017, if you guys know who he is.
Oh yeah.
He's an idiot. And, I didn't know any better. No one else was talking about this shit back then. And I was like, I'll just do what he's doing, take advice from this guy. And I was taking like a lot of drugs. And, I went through a period where I was taking a bunch of DNP as well, like a lot of DNP. Um, it was a fucking nightmare. And once that was done, I was like, okay, cut the shit. And like starting in like 2018, I actually started like doing a proper off season and like not being so stupid. But um yeah, I definitely started about as bad as you could. My body was pretty resilient because I was like 20 at the time, so I kind of got away with it, but a lot of people wouldn't have, I don't think.
That's so funny, man. Like it's so similar. Like it sounds like almost exactly like my experience because I did when I was 19. I did my first cycle, 500 milligrams deca a week, and then competing in the nationals, junior nationals for a few years. competing with Joe in junior nationals, trying to get that title. Fucking 4 years to do that. But the year that I won it, I just turned into a party animal because I thought I was like the best. I was like, I'm the best junior in Canada. Let's go. And so I just partied my fucking ass off for like 2 years. And then I really realized that I you can't mix the two. You can't bodybuild it, you can't be a pro partier and a pro bodybuilder. You just one or the other. So I basically like, and that was around 23, 24 when I decided for sure, okay, I'm just gonna give it all and go pro. And then by 25, I was able to go pro. But it's funny, it's like you could do things perfectly to get there. You could do things in the most fucked up way to get there. You can still get there, It's like whatever, man. It's your journey. So it makes you cool, right? But
Was your first cycle really 500 deca alone?
yes, sir.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah. And it was Jerome Bravo's coach, who's a well-known coach. He passed away. Unfortunately, rest in peace, Darren Oliver. And hey man, I felt like a fucking beast. The only thing is my dick didn't work.
Details.
But it kept me out of trouble, man. That's for sure. It kept me out of
Needs a
trouble. I'm
dick.
like, yeah, I know where I'm going tonight, the fucking gym and nowhere else than home. And I just realized, Joe, we didn't get your answer on whether your parents were supportive, or did we? Did we? No.
Definitely not when I started. Like when I started, both like, especially my mom. Like I actually, like, cause I wanted to compete when I was 20, and my mom knew I was like, trying to get ready for a bodybuilding show. So she gave me an ultimatum of like, either you don't do this or you got to move out. So I moved out when I was 20 because of that. So there was kind of like initially like, it wasn't really, something that she liked because she was like she's very strongly religious, like, wasn't really for it. But as I like, started to see some, success come from it and like turn pro and everything else like that, then she would like, she kind of warmed up to it. She never like loved it, but she was like better about it. She'd be like, "Oh, do you have a show coming up?" Like things like that. So for her, that was huge. My dad was the one where he was more into it because like when he was, back in his day, he'd always like, talk about when he worked out for like 2 years when he was like 25. And then like gave up as soon as he had kids. But
Didn't your older brother
anyways,
compete as well, Mike? Like, didn't your
yeah,
older
yeah, my older
Yeah.
brother, yeah, he competed twice. I think he competed once. He's 10 years older than me. He competed once when he was like 19, then he did another show when he was 28. And the show when he was 28, I actually went to watch because I was 18. I just like kind of got into the gym.
Mhm.
And then I saw that show and I was like, okay, I want to do this. So then, I kind of went more 100% into bodybuilding and then trained for 2 years, did my first show at 20. But yeah, initially my parents definitely like my mom wasn't supportive. My dad kind of liked it, but like kind of didn't want to show that he liked it because he didn't want to piss my mom off.
Yeah.
But then he showed that more like kind of later on too. Like he was always really proud to see me if I did well in shows and all that. But they didn't really like come to watch shows, but like that didn't really bother me because I was just like, I was stubborn and just kind of wanted to prove that I could do something with it. So
Yeah.
for me, them being able to see that and kind of like have more respect towards what you're doing after a while and not just so worried about like, oh, this is, the drugs aspect of it. That meant a lot to me for sure though.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I remember my mom was, I mean, yeah, you're right. Like you guys said, moms are always so worried. My dad was like super all into it, but the steroid thing really changes the perspective for parents, right? Because it's like, oh, this is a really great and healthy thing until the steroids now comes into play. Now it's an unhealthy thing, and they know that, and you can't lie to them. So it's like, yeah, it's like the same thing with me, Joe. Like I moved out. I got basically ultimatum. It's like steroids or you move out. And I'm like, you know what? Like, fuck, again, it's like you gotta prove yourself. Fucking the hero's journey, baby. Let's go. Yeah. That's cool though. Do you ever talk to your brother about like bodybuilding? Like, is he still like is he interested as a fan? Like, does he watch, like follow you along, obviously? Like,
Yeah, no, we still talk. It's funny because like he was into it before me, right? So like that's another thing with my dad. Like my dad will always say that my brother was bigger than me, even though he wasn't. So we'll joke about stuff like that. But no, he keeps up with what I'm doing. And we kind of go back and forth about things, and it's cool because like he was into it. He still works out. He's still in really good shape. He's just not like he's not trying to be big anymore. He's like 100 and I think he's around 195, 200 pounds, but just like really lean.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's cool to have that though, like because we, we'll talk all the time about like just shit like that, and it is cool because I feel like if he wasn't into it, I don't know if I would have, kind of got interested in it. So it is pretty cool to have that.
Yeah. Stu, do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I got an older sister.
Yeah.
I'm not real tight with her though. She
Does
just
she
kind of
live?
annoys me. Um, but she like she does this travel nursing thing. I don't know if it's like that up in Canada, but like there's this weird staffing situation with the hospitals down in the US as like an aftermath thing from COVID. Um, where like she gets contracts to like go to various hospitals all over the country for like 3 or 4 months here and then like a few months here. So she's like never really in one place. I don't really see her ever, but I have no idea if she keeps up with the sport. She does like skiing and hiking and outdoorsy stuff.
Does she lift? No.
No, she played rugby in college because she's built pretty sturdy, kind of like I am. So she was decent at that, I think. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was kind of like always like the athlete between the two of us.
Yeah. I got an older brother. He's 7 years older. He doesn't lift though. So Aaron, you got two brothers and they both compete.
I got three brothers.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know you had three brothers. I know you had the two brothers that compete. Does your third brother compete?
No, no, my two older brothers don't compete anymore. So they both have kids. One has 3 kids, the other one has two. And then Sean, and I don't know if he's going to compete again either. So it's really just me left.
Yeah. And your younger brother, is he going to compete?
I don't think he'll compete again. I don't
No.
know. I don't know what his plan is.
Yeah.
He loves the whole sport, but he's not into obviously taking it to the extreme I am with trying to put size on.
Yeah.
Are they all
for sure.
tall like you are?
Two of them are the other. So my oldest brother's 5'10". Leyland's 6 foot. I'm 6'2", and then Shannon's like 6'1". So we're all pretty tall.
Yeah. Are your parents tall too?
Um, mom's like 5'9", dad's like 5'11".
That's tall for a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty tall.
Yeah. So you get it from, I guess. Justin, do you have siblings?
I have a younger sister.
Does she
Yeah.
lift?
No. She did gymnastics younger. I mean, she keeps in shape. She's in shape, but she's more like because she does modeling. So she
Okay.
has like a model shape type thing. But no, she doesn't. She trains here and there. She lives in Europe now. But she keeps in shape. She works for a gym over there. But I mean, it's not like the heavy lifting or anything like that. It's just kind of like, she eats pretty well and she kind of just maintains her shape. But yeah, it's mostly just to stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like lifting has become like pretty normal for almost everybody in the fucking world, basically, right? But like we do things like on another level. Like I still like, I feel like the gym culture is so like it's so prevalent now, but I still feel like we're a different species of that, like a subculture still.
Well, yeah, right after COVID, I mean, all these kids finally got let out of their houses, right?
Yeah.
The TikTok generation.
Yeah.
And, at least they're in the gym doing shit, but like the they don't look up to guys like us, really, which I mean, it's fine, I guess, but it's like, who are you looking up to?
Yeah.
Fucking another skinny, pretty kid? Like their role models are different, and it's odd. It's not what I grew up with. It's not what you guys grew up with.
Yeah. We just wanted to get big as fuck.
Yeah,
At
and
all
like
costs.
that's not the goal anymore. Like they want to
No.
be, influencers or like pretty and it's like that's not our game. Certainly not my game.
Even the people that say they want to, even the people that are like, okay, it's time to get big. And it's like, but you don't get any bigger. So what are you talking about?
Yeah, they're kind of LARPing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's not shit on too many people because we could fucking talk in a whole hour. Let's do one more question.
Yeah, we could.
Fucking broccoli heads. Just kidding. Let's see. Um, this one's good. If you got cast in a film as an actor, would you want it to be an action film, or comedy or something else? Stu?
Ooh. Something where I don't talk much because I'm a bad actor.
Be like a villain.
I could be like a silent antagonist or something.
Like a bodyguard.
Yeah,
Maybe.
some minion, yeah, for the bad guys.
Yeah, I'd probably want to be in an action film, because I feel like a really big guy doing a comedy, like it's kind of distracting, It's like I feel like imagine if any of us ever did like stand up, it's like they would just be so focused on your body. It's like the elephant in the room would just be the whole time. Like you'd kind of have to like make jokes about it constantly, kind of a thing.
Like John Cena does comedy movies, and I can't say I've ever really watched him, but I can't imagine he's like particularly good in there because he's like just the big jack.
No, man, he's good.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's just funny
Okay.
without trying. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, when I first started lifting, John Cena was like a meme. I don't know if it was a meme for you guys, but whenever I
Yeah.
walked to the gym, there was always guys just being like, "Yo, Cena," and I'd be like, "I guess that's me," because they would always just refer to me as Cena, and I kind of took it as like a respect thing, but I never really understood that, So I don't know. Maybe I could do comedy then if you think he's good. Then maybe I'll try that out. 'Cause-
Well, a few good movies.
yeah. So would you pick a comedy, Aaron? You'd want to be starring in a comedy?
I would say action.
Yeah.
Something like Pain and Gain.
Yeah.
That's
But you're the fucking Iron Man, so you just do Iron Man, easy.
That's true. There
Yeah.
we go.
What about you, Joe? Do action or comedy? Or romance, man, because you really look at Cinderella, like you could be the prince. You could do a rom-com or something, You could be the Prince Charming. That'd be nice.
I think I'd want to do a comedy just because, like, I don't know. I think it'd be fun. I used to do acting back when I was in high school, and like, I don't know. I couldn't take myself seriously in an action role.
Yeah, that's true. You just start laughing.
Yeah.
What would you do, Kurt?
Pornography.
Thumbs down. You
doesn't
just
count,
over
right?
Oh, he's frozen. I thought you were just doing the thumbs down the whole time. Like, nah, fuck. Okay, Kurt. If you got cast in a film, you gonna do an action or a comedy or rom-com?
I made a joke, but the camera fucking.
Oh, you
Lost me
make
on that
a joke about like doing.
I made a joke, but my camera cut me out. Yeah, probably action. I'm not that funny.
Yeah, you can do like a
My
horror.
joke
You'd be
with my
like
camera.
just be like the horror film, like where the camera's always just like fucked up.
Yeah.
What's wrong with my camera? It's like, Anyway. Justin.
There we go.
I think I'd go with like one of those like superhero movies, but like the villain, Like I'm like nerdy in that way, like all these like Marvel movies and everything. So I
Yeah.
think that'd be cool, be like that Jack villain.
They'd probably turn you into a fucking anime. They'd just be like Attack on Titan and be like Attack on Justin, just like a
Yeah,
giant, and everybody just trying to fuck him up the whole time.
Yeah, that's good too.
That's fucking jokes. Well, I mean, we've been on for a while, guys, so we'll let you all go, get back to your thing, but I really appreciate it. Kurt, Stu, really appreciate you guys coming on tonight.
Thank you
Joe,
for having
Aaron,
us.
Justin, as
Yeah.
always, boys. Make sure you guys subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Take care.
Peace.